Thanks to all of you for joining us. I'd like to add my congratulations to all of you for having been accepted to Roger Williams University and to the Gabelli School. That's quite an accomplishment, and I'm sure you've achieved a lot to have been able to be accepted this year. So we're really looking forward to hearing your questions today. As Amy said, this isn't a substitute for us being together on our beautiful campus, which you can see behind Amy, but it's the best we can do under the circumstances. And I do hope that all of you are staying safe and well during these very challenging times. You and your families both are staying safe and well. So we have joining us this afternoon 4 terrific students from the Gabelli School of Business who have very different backgrounds. And I'd like to introduce them to you, just give you brief introductions because the introductions that I have don't do justice to any of them. They've all been very active at the Gabelli School and at Roger Williams. They're great students and they're great people. And I hope you will be able to spend this time constructively asking them questions about their experiences. So first I'd like to introduce Jake. Jacob is his formal name. We call him Jake. And he is a senior finance major with economics and psychology minors. Is the managing director of the CAFE program. That's our Center for Advanced Financial Education, which is our student investing program that some of you may have developed a familiarity with. Jake has somehow managed to get himself a great background, which is the shot of our Wigan lab, which is where our students normally manage our funds, and now they're doing it remote. He has been with the CAFE program for a few semesters, and in addition to being very active with the CAFE program and the investment program, he is licensed paraplanner at Ameriprise Financial, overseeing over $200 million of client accounts and assets, and he is from Norton, Massachusetts. Welcome, Jake. Good to have you with us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thomson. Hi, Riley. Riley is a senior management major with a minor in educational studies, and she is the president of Beta Gamma Sigma this year. And Beta Gamma Sigma is the only recognized honor society that is sanctioned by AACB International, the elite accreditation that the Gabelli School of Business holds. So good for you, Riley. You're doing a great job there. Riley has been a head research, she is a head research resident assistant at Bay Point, one of our residence halls. And she's been a resident assistant since her sophomore year. And Riley had a special role this year for Gabelli and for the Beta Gamma Sigma organization. She represented the Gabelli School at Beta Gamma Sigma Global Leadership Summit in Chicago, and spent a few days with outstanding students from around the country, and she may have something to share with us about that. Kristina Renaud is with us. Hi, Kristina. Kristina is a senior. She is a double major in marketing and Spanish and is from Beverly, Massachusetts. She has lived in Cedar, Stonewall, Bayside, and an off-campus house this year. So she makes a special note. If you have questions about residence life, she's a good person to ask about that. She's been involved in a variety of activities, including the American Advertising Federation. They just had their annual competition this year, and they're getting a competition. So good luck, Kristina. I hope you fared well in that. She's also interested in Rotaract, the Community Service Center, and is this year serving on the e-board as the vice president for our business fraternity Delta Sigma Pi and the Business Honor Society Beta Gamma Sigma. So thanks for being with us, Kristina. And last but certainly not least is Matt Wozniak. Matt, welcome. Matt is currently a junior from Connecticut. Where in Connecticut are you from, Matt?
Durham.
Durham, okay. He's majoring in finance and minoring in economics and has a core concentration in psychology. He is a student fund manager for the student investing group. And outside of the business school, he runs on the men's cross country and track team. So welcome, Matt, and welcome to all of you. I'd like to start the questioning by just asking you, when you were in the shoes of our guests with us today, these prospective freshmen, what informed your decision? How did you make your decision to enroll Roger at the Gabelli School? Who wants to go first?
I
Jake?
My decision came down to a big part of for me was location. I have grown up around New England my entire life and being near the water, so that was pretty important to me, was kind of maintaining that, and then also the programs that the school could offer. So when I came and visited the school, I didn't know too much about it, and then I had the accepted students day, and I was presented to by the dean, some of the finance professors, and they talked to me about what we do different at the Gabelli school versus other schools in the area. And that was kind of when I settled and said, all right, this is where I want to go. And I set my sights on kind of the trajectory I wanted to take in the school.
Great. Thanks. Thanks, Jake. Anybody else want to jump in on that question?
Yeah, sure. I could just following up with what Jake said. I think he pretty much said it best for myself included. I know I really wanted to stay within New England, being from Connecticut. Being by the water was important, so location was great. I really wanted a small class setting as well, just so that I wasn't really just like a number. I wanted to be more a face, like in front of my professors. And as well as trying to decide a major, I knew that finance was going to be the path I wanted to go when I first got to see the cafe, or the former Bloomberg lab, which was the cafe, and then now how it's grown to such an even larger program in the school. I just knew that this is where I wanted to go for the next 4 years.
Great. Okay, next, who wants to jump in here?
Yeah, so those are two really great answers, Matt and Jake. I mean, I think kind of the one downside of having this virtual accepted students day is not seeing our beautiful campus, but you can see it from Amy's background. That was one really big factor for me, to just walk on campus and not only see the beautiful views, but also kind of have a feeling for what it would be like to be a student there. And it kind of resonated with me the most, even though my accepted students day was on a rainy, cloudy day. So that was definitely one big factor. For me, however, it was more, I was actually looking at much larger school options. So Roger was actually a much smaller school choice for me in terms of student size. But what I realized from that is the opportunities and kind of personalized and catered experiences we've had. I think that goes to show from, you know, the finance perspective, just from what Jake and Matt have been speaking about in terms of cafe, but also as a marketing and advertising student, I've had really catered experiences just within the advertising field, and then also made really outstanding relationships that have propelled much further into opportunities with my deans, with professors, with really everyone at the Gabelli School. So that was a big factor for me as well.
Great, thanks, Kristina. Riley, last but not least.
Yeah, definitely what the three of my peers have said were big factors in me choosing Roger Williams. Something I really appreciated was the opportunity to not need to make a decision about my major right away. So I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I actually started out, I applied to Roger as a business major. I switched over the summer to education, and then obviously I switched back to business, but I actually made my switch back to business my sophomore year. And I'm still graduating on time. I didn't have to take like any extra classes, so having that understanding that I have time to decide was really big for me. And also just seeing those relationships that the students had with professors and each other. When I was on tour, I'd see my tour guide saying hi to other students. I'd see professors saying hi to students as they were walking. And that was something I kind of had in high school as well, and something I was looking forward to having in college as well.
Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. These are great stories. I almost remember meeting you at Accepted Student Days, and they are more fun when you can do them in person, aren't they? So I don't think we have any questions from the audience yet, but I have another question, and that is, what's been the thing you've liked most about your time at Roger and at Gabelli thus far?
I can start this one. So Dean McTiernan mentioned that I had the opportunity to travel to Chicago this past fall semester as a part of the Beta Gamma Sigma Global Leadership Summit. And like reflecting back on my time at Roger Williams, that was one of the highlights. I had the opportunity to connect with students all across the world. I met a few students from China, and we were kind of talking about our different educations, but it was really cool that it all lined up because it was all AACSB accredited. I met some brilliant people. You think you meet some smart people here, and then you're like, oh wow, you do this. So it was a really cool opportunity to witness like different perspectives. I also was able to connect with some of the speakers. I added them on LinkedIn, and then that actually promoted further conversations. So it was really just cool and unique to hear their perspectives throughout their business journey, and then have the opportunity to connect with them on LinkedIn to talk even further. And I gained a lot of like really valuable insight that I've been actually able to bring back to the classroom and share with some of my professors, but also use in my professional growth. In terms of interviews, we had a whole session on just interview tips that I was able to use. So I really am thankful for that opportunity that the Gabelli School of Business provided me with, and it's something that I'll definitely remember for forever.
Great networking opportunity. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Great. Anybody else want to jump in?
Actually, it seems like we have a question too from the audience in the chat.
Oh, okay. You
We
want to
do.
take that?
Yeah, the question is, have any of you done internships?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've done, I could start, or Kristina, if you want to go, either or. But I've had 2 internships so far, and I have one this summer as well. So I'll have 3, all within the wealth management industry. So, I mean, being at Rogers definitely prepared me for all 3 of those for sure. Definitely with the background, my finance background as well. So.
Yeah, and just adding to that, it kind of links to my favorite part about Roger Williams as well. One of the really great opportunities we have is with the CPC Center, which is our Community Partnership Center. And so actually some of my business courses have incorporated and worked with nonprofit organizations in the area. So actually my business professional writing class, we built a board of directors manual for a local organization, and that's something you can use on your resume or in interviews. So it's kind of like a mini internship experience per se that's incorporated into your classwork. And then also the National Student Advertising Competition that I was just recently a part of is kind of another version of that internship experience that you get without even leaving campus. And we created a cohesive campaign over the past year that is deliverable to a client. And, you know, using a promotional budget that's, you know, real dollars and having to kind of convert that to a campaign. So that's been a really great experience as well. And then outside from that, I've held 2 internships in marketing. So one in a creative more direction with marketing social media content, and then another at Fidelity Investments in the financial sphere in the marketing section as well.
Great. Anybody else want to talk about their internships?
My job at Ameriprise, it started off as an internship when I was spring semester sophomore, and then I've stayed there for the last 2 years and worked my way to become licensed and be more of a full-time employee with them. So, and I got that through the Career Center as well at school.
Mm-hmm. Good for you.
Another great thing about internships is you can actually find a lot of them right on campus. So obviously we are really busy, and some semesters are busier than others. So my junior year, I did an internship with the Department of Residence Life and Housing, and I'm a management major, so I was able to incorporate that into event planning and helping them plan their accepted student stays from the residence life side and work with them throughout some different tasks. So that was really helpful for me because I didn't have to leave campus to do an internship.
Great. Okay. Do you want to go back to my question, since I don't have another question yet from the audience, but how about the question I asked earlier about what's been your best experience at Rogers so far?
Okay. Yeah, I think Dean McTiernan, you can probably guess what mine is, but I was able to, in August, we traveled, the cafe program traveled to the New York Stock Exchange and was able to witness the closing bell ceremony. And I also was able to meet Mario Gabelli, and that was kind of awesome to have that experience. And we present all over, so I've been to Montreal and as well as Dubai to present to international professionals and some school alumni as well, which has just been awesome.
Great. What other trips have you been on? Have you been
elsewhere? I did Montreal last spring.
Okay.
During the summer, I went to New York City a few times, and then we did Dubai last semester.
Okay. You were in Dubai. You were on the Dubai trip. Okay. You want anything about that? That had to have been a highlight for you.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Matt?
Definitely to go along with what Jake said, because I'm also in the cafe, that's definitely been a highlight. But also one of my favorite things too about the Gabelli School is that you're assigned a advisor, an academic advisor within the business school. And over my course of time here at Roger Williams, like I've got to know my advisor so well. It's actually Professor Dotrieve, so it makes me very sad that he's retiring this semester. But that's something that I've used him as a huge resource. He's been great helping me navigate and go through the school throughout the years. So that's definitely one of the highlights of the Gabelli School, is that your advisor really, takes the time to sit down with you, map out what plan you want, and then pick classes accordingly. So
I think
Right.
that's so true for even advisors and professors you've had. I mean, I've made a lot of really close connections with the professors here, whether they're in management and economics, marketing. I'm just thinking about Dr. Dotrieve. I was just reminiscing of my freshman sophomore year of how many hours I spent in his office going over econ. But it really, the relationships you make, they really show a dedication much further than their profession too.
Yeah, that's kind of a unique feature of the Gabelli School and the faculty advising program. Many schools do not have that. They have a central advising office, and students really don't spend much time getting to know faculty very well, or really having a chance to do projects with them or talk with them much one-on-one. So I mention that usually at our accepted student days when I'm talking about differentiating factors, what makes us a different of business school than some of the other schools that people may be considering. And I think that you've identified one key difference that our upper class students and alumni talk about a lot in terms of what a positive experience that has been for them, and how that has been so helpful to them in so many ways, navigating through the Gabelli School and through Roger Williams, and making decisions about study abroad programs and internships, and can fit everything you want to do to 4 years so that you can graduate on time. So I'm sad that Dr. Dotrieve is retired also, but he's a great guy. Good. Do we have any other questions, Amy? Because those of you who have joined us, we'd love to hear from you as well. We've got a great resource here in the form of these 4 students, if you have questions for them.
No additional ones have come in just yet. So I don't know if Susan, you have some prompts.
I have a couple more questions. I'm full of questions actually. So what do you remember most about your freshman year? Can you remember back that far to your freshman year? And what was the most helpful thing in terms of making your transition from high school to Roger and to GSB? I know this is hard.
yeah.
It's
not a trick question though.
For my freshman year, something I vividly remember is the day before classes. So every student's assigned a peer mentor on campus, and our peer mentors actually take us to every building and show us where our classes are. I remember being petrified that I was going to be late to class or not know the right building, but it was really awesome to have that student on campus who had a year under their belt, maybe 2 years, and they showed us exactly where to go so we didn't get lost. So I definitely remember that.
Okay.
That's so true. Actually, adding to that, my peer mentor was actually in the advertising competition that I'm in now. And I remember meeting her for lunch, like just outside of her peer mentorship hours, just like asking her a ton of questions about the experience and really looking up to her. And so having her as that kind of mentor for me going through, and just having a familiar face, an upperclassman to see and to wave to in Commons, which is our dining hall, or the library, was just really helpful. The other thing I would add too is I definitely spent like the first couple years here really delving into different clubs and pushing myself outside my comfort zone of what I was interested in and wanted to get involved in. So I think one of the really great opportunities is there's a lot of sophomores and even like second semester freshmen that run for e-board of certain positions or certain clubs. So that was a really great opportunity to like meet new people that I wouldn't see necessarily in my dorm or in my classes. So
great. Do you want to say a little something more about e-board? Because I'm not sure our students really know what that is, our visitors today.
Yeah, so E-board is like is the leadership positions of clubs, and they range in like different commitment levels. So Riley and I are on the E-board of Beta Gamma Sigma, which is the Business Honor Society for the AACSB accredited business school. But there's also E-board for like Animal Rights Club or the Multicultural Student Union, Rotaract, which is a community service organization, and these are all clubs that you can, if you're not familiar where like when or where they meet. We have an involvement fair that gets you to kind of see, I think we have like 90 plus clubs on campus. So for the involvement fair in the fall, we kind of, there's a lot, yeah. I remember them saying there was like a flying squirrel club or something during the admission.
Really?
There's always a new club being formed, which is awesome. It's different range of interests, but the involvement fair is a chance for students to kind of walk around and meet all these people that are representative of the clubs and find something that you're interested in. So it's a great opportunity to again reach outside your comfort zone and find new interests.
Thanks. I learned something today. I didn't know we had a flying squirrel club, but I'll try to look into that a little bit more later. Anybody else want to volunteer? What help make their transition a little bit easier for them? What they remember?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I was a freshman, because I ran cross country, I know I had to get into a routine, pretty quickly because I had classes, and then right after class I'd go to practice. So I definitely think creating a routine, like just a set schedule, is something that really helped me, transition pretty well from high school going into college, because I had to manage my time even more. So I think that having a set schedule is pretty beneficial.
Did you work on that yourself, Matt? Did you get help from the Center for Student Academic Success with that?
I used a little bit of both. I mean, I wanted to try to do it as much as I could, but I definitely went to them for help as well for that. And I know with my teammates and my classmates, we all tried to help each other out with that as well.
Good. Okay. Anybody else want to talk about anything along those lines? What eased your transition in?
I think for me, a big
We
part
haven't heard from you.
Was my peer mentor as well as my advisor, because I pretty early in the freshman year got sucked into the freedom and just being able to lay in bed, play video games, and watch TV. And they both, between the two of them, they kind of set me straight and helped me line up a schedule so that I was getting my work done, making sure I'm getting to class. So they really are there for you if you see yourself kind of getting sucked into, you've never had that much freedom and you forget about your classes almost. They're going to help you out because they're going to notice, they're going to hear from your teachers, and they're going to help you get on track so that you can graduate on time and get where you want to be.
Great. Thank you all. Good. Do we have any other questions from our participants who are with us? This is your time to ask questions of our students. We just had that one question about internships.
Yep, that's it so far.
Okay.
From the audience.
Okay. So why don't we talk a little bit about, I know that some of you have had some very special experiences, Matt and Jake with CAFE, and Riley with the AACSB Leadership, I shouldn't say AACSB, Beta Gamma Sigma Leadership Summit. And Kristina has been involved in the American Advertising Federation competition. So I wonder, since we have the benefit of your expertise here, maybe we could hear a little bit more about the student investing program and a little bit more about Beta Gamma Sigma and maybe a little bit more about the American Advertising Federation competition, because these are all really special features of the Gabelli School of Business student experience. And one of the things we emphasize, of course, as all of you who are here know, is this idea of experiential education. Being able to take what you're learning in the classroom and apply that into a work situation, whether that's an internship or a community project, such as Kristina mentioned, or being at something like the Beta Gamma Sigma Summit, or managing a portfolio or two. So I wonder if maybe Matt, you and Jake could jump in and give us a few minutes about the CAFE program, and then Kristina could spend a few minutes telling us a little bit more about the American Advertising Federation. And Riley, you've talked about the Leadership Summit, but maybe you could talk a little bit more about Beta Gamma Sigma and what that organization does on campus and within the Gabelli School. So you guys want to start with cafe? We know it hasn't been a great time for investors these last few weeks. Certainly not for me.
It's been a rough month and a half for us, for sure. So cafe, it is in the room behind me, as you can see. There's usually about 10 to 12 student fund managers and then a few people on the management team. I'm one of the 3 management team, and Matt's actually one of the student fund managers now, but he'll be taking my role in the fall. We manage 2 real dollar portfolios. They total, well, before the crash, it was about $280,000. It's a little bit less now. Not too bad, though. We're doing okay. We manage the funds. One's a growth fund and one's a value fund. And we have, as you can see on the screens behind me, maybe a little bit, we have Bloomberg terminals and all the real data analysis applications that real industry does use. I use these same ones at my internship and at Ameriprise. So we have all the technology, so you're learning everything before you even step out into the workplace, which usually I'm interviewing right now. I'm just finishing up a few. The first 6 months of all of these internships, jobs I'm getting, is all just dedicated to learning the systems. So I'm coming in already about 3 months ahead, just because I've done this program for even a semester. You're going to learn everything you need to know. That's the usual length of it, is about 1 to 2 semesters. I'm sure Matt has more.
Yeah, so currently I'm a student fund manager, and like what Jake said, I'm stepping into his role in the fall. But being a student fund manager is pretty awesome. You learn so much, and we really stress a lot of a strong work ethic and a lot of due diligence as well, because as a student fund manager, you're assigned to a sector partner, and you have specific sectors that you look into, and you really just comb through and do your due diligence on a wide range of analyses in order to present a extremely viable company that you have so much pride in that you found, and you would bring it to the management team like Jake and the other ADs based on what objective it fits for the portfolio. So we definitely spend a lot of time in there, but it's honestly one of the greatest experiences I've had, hands down, in college so far.
And you're using the Bloomberg technology sorry, Jake?
I was going to say,
say something
the application process. You do apply to get in, and then there's about 3 interviews before you hear back for the next semester. It doesn't matter about your GPA. All we care about is your knowledge and your drive, because in reality, in the real world, your knowledge and your drive is what's going to help you make it. So if we see that spark in you, you're going to be taken. You're going to thrive in this type of environment.
Okay, great. Thank you both.
Oh, I can't hear her.
Oh, I think we lost Susan for a moment there. So you all might be proactively answering questions that our attendees, may have come on with, because new ones aren't necessarily coming in, but I think really fantastic information and experiences being shared. So I'll let you know if new questions come in, but if you want to just, keep prompting and keep sharing, I think you all have some really amazing experiences that our prospective students should be hearing about.
Yeah, cafe.
I'm sorry, I got kicked off the meeting, but I'm back. So
I was just saying, cafe is such an amazing program. I've toured, obviously, when I was an incoming freshman.
Kristina.
Oh.
No, did you want to talk a little bit about the advertising competition?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I was just saying that I've toured, obviously other business schools in the area, and I think cafe is really unique in the sense that it combines, the Bloomberg technologies, like with the kind of professor knowledge and the ability for you guys to kind of expand on your own. I think that's a really unique program that the school offers, especially if you're interested in finance. So I do know there's been people that are not necessarily finance majors. I know there's in the past been either finance minors or even just, I'm sure, people that are interested in finance, that the finance major is not necessarily a requirement, which is pretty neat too. Yeah, but as for the advertising competition, so you're given a client at the start of each fall semester, so the start of the school year. It's open to, it's an upper level, 400 level course, professor admit course, but usually if you show interest and progression in the advertising marketing sphere, you're usually let in by our faculty. And so it's similar to the cafe experiential learning type of course. And so like I said, you're given a client, it's a nationwide competition. I believe there's 12 districts and we're District 1. So right now we're competing against 7 other schools, and then you move on to regionals. The schools range from, it's really any school that has an advertising arm per se. Oh, can you guys hear me? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, internet connection was lagging a little bit. But yeah, so if any business school has an advertising leg or extension with faculty knowledge, it's usually a program that can be brought on. So you're given a client at the beginning of the fall semester, and you really begin research. So you start off kind of applying all of your 4 years of marketing and business knowledge with ground research, qualitative and quantitative analysis, really understanding who your target is, who your campaign is, your competitors. And then you do some work over the winter semester to prepare, or the winter intersession to prepare for the spring semester. And the spring semester is really where we create our campaign. So we have, I'm not a creative myself. I don't do any graphic design or, or videography or anything like that. But we have an awesome creative team that actually creates the campaign. So we do video advertisements, podcasts, voiceovers, social ads, out-of-home advertisements, so billboards and bus ads, really implemented into a full cohesive campaign. And then that's presented usually in person. Was supposed to be on our campus this year, but it was the first time it was a virtual kind of competition. And so we presented to a panel of about 4 or 5 judges that are in the advertising field. This year they were from Google, Adobe, you know, really reputable companies. And then there's a Q&A portion after. And if you do win this district competition, you move on to regionals and then nationals. It's a really great network of people to connect with and also expand your knowledge. And I think, you know, even if you're not really interested in advertising, but you are in the marketing field, it's a really great way to encompass your 4 years of business and marketing knowledge into one campaign. And I think it's something that's treated just like an internship, and it's something that I've already been speaking about in interviews too.
Great. What was your company this year, Kristina?
Our client's Adobe this year.
Adobe.
So B2B campaign, definitely different than B2C, which is business to consumer. So, yeah. But it was, I think everything is, you know, a new challenge, but this one was really neat. I'm excited to see the results. We hear tonight, so.
Good. Well, I'm rooting for you. Please let me know how things are for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Riley, do you want to talk a little bit about Beta Gamma chapter at GSB?
Yeah. So our Beta Gamma Sigma chapter at Gabelli is something really unique. Kristina and I were both inducted our junior year. We also have classmates who get inducted their senior year. And essentially how you're inducted is based off your academic successes. So it's pretty interesting to actually look at this overall layout of the Beta Gamma Sigma chapter, because they're all AACSB accredited business school students, and AACSB only accredits 5% of schools internationally, I believe. So it's only a small number of schools who have this high honor based on the learning experiences within the school. And then within each chapter, it's the top 10% of the students. So it is a very high honor and something that not a lot of students are able to be a part of, but those who work really hard end up really gaining that benefit. It opens up a whole networking chapter. So it's a big point on my resume. And I've interviewed and actually had people point out like, oh, you're a member of Beta Gamma Sigma. I am too. Let me connect you with so-and-so. So it really opens up a lot of opportunities. As I mentioned earlier, being able to travel to that Global Leadership Summit was really cool. And I got to attend a leadership e-board only section, which is awesome because I was able to actually learn some stuff that other chapters do at their school and bring it back to Roger Williams. So something the other officers and I are looking into doing is creating a LinkedIn for the Roger Williams Beta Gamma Sigma chapter, so that even when you graduate, you're still connected with other Beta Gamma Sigma members, so that we're just extending our network even further.
Wow, that's a great idea. I didn't know you were thinking about that.
Yeah, we actually spoke with Dr. Bosco about it when we returned, and we're trying to figure out logistics because we think it would be a great opportunity.
Great. Well, you know who's really good at that is Dr. Strong in the dean's office.
Oh, awesome. We'll connect with him.
He's really, really good at that sort of stuff. You can tell him I sent you.
Okay, I will.
Okay. Good, good, good. So do we have any questions from participants? Anything you want to know from the student point of view?
Nothing new has come in. Susan, I think you're probably doing a great job answering questions for them proactively, and prompting questions for them, and providing a lot of information that is really valuable and helpful.
You know what I'd like to go back to? I'd like to go back to something that Riley said earlier about her changing majors.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I wanted to just visit this for a few minutes is because for those of you who are thinking about enrolling at Gabelli, but you may not be certain of what you want to major in, we are a great place for you. And the reason that I say that is because every single year that I've been dean, which is the last 5 years, our freshman class has come in evenly divided between those students who had declared a major in business and those students who were undeclared. And we don't really look at you as being undeclared. We look at you more as being an exploratory student because we assume that you're interested in exploring lots of different things and that you're going to settle on a major with guidance from your faculty advisor, because even if you come in undeclared or exploratory, you still are assigned a faculty advisor within the Gabelli School, the same as if you had come in declared as a finance major or marketing or whatever, management. So you have lots of opportunities to kind of stretch and look into things and examine what the possibilities might be for you as a student at Gabelli and where the best fit is in terms of major. And we really help you with that from several different perspectives. We start when you're a freshman. And when you're a freshman, we offer you opportunities for individual, personal, private assessments so that you can get an idea of the kinds of things you're good at and the kinds of things you like to do, as opposed to the things that you might not be as good at and the things you might not like to do as much. And we do that through the Bloomberg Peregrine Assessment Program. These are not graded. They're not something you have to share with anybody else unless you want to, but they're very powerful, robust assessments that are prepared every year by senior corporate executives and business school faculty, and they're specifically geared towards helping you sort things out. And that's just one way that we help you. That enterprise course is our gateway freshman course. And in that course, our freshmen take their first business course as freshmen in their first semester, which is not the case at a lot of business schools. Some business schools, you'll never see a business course until you get to be a junior. And that's certainly not the case at the Gabelli School and at Roger. And I'm sorry?
I still remember my class. I still have my business plan.
Me too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Students in the enterprise course develop business plans, and you see a little bit of just about every dimension of business, some accounting, some finance, some marketing, some management. You get to learn a little bit of just kind of introductory things, but about a lot of different topics within business. On a business plan with an eye towards launching a business that you have an idea for. And so every student on this conversation this afternoon has gone through that course. It probably is like ancient history, most of you now, but you did go through that, and it's a point of pride for us because it is one of those areas that helps our students to start sorting things out as freshmen if they come in not certain what they want to major in. We have other ways to support you. Our faculty experts are happy to talk with you about the different majors. We have a career center that sponsors 2 career fairs every year, one in the fall and one in the spring. And we have organizations, companies that come to campus who are glad to talk with freshmen even about the opportunities with their organizations. Some of them even have a card on their table that says freshman friendly. So freshmen can go up and talk about careers and talk about internships and talk about possible full-time opportunities after they graduate. We have a great group of alumni who are glad to talk with our students. We have individuals who come and speak to classes who are alums, and they can share their insights and their experiences. And again, another point of information. So I just wanted to mention this because, Riley, this might surprise you, but we have a lot of students like you who did what you did and came majoring in business, decided they didn't want that, and then came back.
Yeah.
And we do have that flexibility to work with you to make sure that you can graduate in 4 years. And we mostly are able to accommodate people, they can graduate in 4 years, which may be important to your parents than to you, but it is important because you want to get on to the next step of your life, whatever that happens to be. And you might want that to be staying on for our 4+1 MBA program, because now we have the opportunity for students to stay for 1 more year and do an AACSB accredited MBA program. That's been a very popular option for many of our students. But that's not the only option, certainly. Many of our students go on to graduate school elsewhere, or they go into great jobs. I know that some of our seniors have already accepted positions, and some of the others are still working on that. And it's been a little harder in this online environment, I'm sure. So, but I know you're all going to end up in a really great place. So I just wanted to kind of give some time that I coming in as an exploratory student, as opposed to not being quite what you want to do, because there's nothing wrong with that. Good.
And
Any
just,
more?
oh, sorry, I was gonna bounce off you, Dean McTiernan. Another thing that really is cool about exploring is that we have like our business core classes that regardless of your major, you're still gonna take, and that's like, we take 2 accounting classes, a finance class, an intro to marketing, an intro to management, 2 economics classes, an international business class. So you get those introductions to all of our majors through our business core. So even if you have to make that switch because you took intro to marketing and you're like, oh, I actually really like that class, I want to keep exploring, you're not setting yourself back in any way, because you still need it regardless of any of your majors within the business school. So that's a really cool aspect of the curriculum here.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Thank you for making that. And that have a very strong business core that all of our students do, after Riley says, but we also have a very strong program of tutoring for students who may need a little bit of a hand with economic, accounting, finance. I know this is shocking to Matt and to Jake, but some people do assistance with their finance courses. I actually was one of the people back in the day, many centuries ago when I was an undergrad. But we do provide those types of assistance. And we also provide assistance through something I mentioned earlier, which is our Center for Student Academic Success, so that there are people there who are just a great group of individuals who are highly trained and very dedicated to help students make transition from high school to college. If you need help with scheduling, or you need tutoring help with writing or math, kind of general assistance, they're there to help you with all of those. I asked Matt if he used them to help organize schedule and manage time, and they do that for our students who are freshmen. So that's an opportunity for you as well as freshmen at the Gabelli School and at Roger. So good. Other questions, other comments? Okay,
So
well,
there are no additional questions that have come in. I think that that information is really fantastic.
Good. Well, I don't know if students have anything final comments. This group of prospective freshmen. If you have any parting words or words of advice, this would be the time to. How about good luck? Hope to see you in the fall.
Yeah, good luck. Really, I mean, this is obviously such a tough time. I really hope that you're able to get all the information you need. And if you have any more questions, you can definitely feel free to email me too. I can put my email in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. And thanks to those of you who joined us today. Again, congrats on your acceptance. We hope to see you in the fall. If you have questions, you're welcome to direct them to me, and I can get them to the students. And can respond to myself. I'm very easy to find on the RWU website. Congrats to all of you for your acceptance, and please stay safe and well. Stay safe and well during the very challenging times. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Have a
See
great
you soon.
afternoon.
Bye.